This is News 8 Now, this morning.
They can tell me things and they can pour out their hearts when they're feeling bad about their actions. And if I can help them through that process, it's a gift to me.
It could always be used for other things if someone were to go missing or any other emergency that may come up. This camera program could help us out.
A disaster can be the thing that pushes a family over the edge. And what the Red Cross does, we provide the services and the care and the compassion to pull families back from that edge.
Nonprofit organizations rely on charitable giving and philanthropy to be able to meet their missions. And it really is thriving nonprofit organizations that set communities apart from being a good community to being a great community.
That was your eye-opener. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for watching News 8 Now on this Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. I'm Ken Kozorowski. That's Derek Sibley. We've had some mild days lately, very calm, lots of sunshine, but all that's set to change later today, Derek.
Yeah, in fact, we started to see evidence of that yesterday, Ken, when we had all that thick cloud cover move in out ahead of that storm system, which is now affecting us here officially. We're seeing snow come down here in portions of the area. For example, we are seeing some light snow across portions of Rusk County, southward down towards Chippewa and also towards Dunn County as well. We did see a little bit of snow here earlier across Wabasha and Pepin County, but it looks like that here is starting to relax here a little bit and kind of move its way a little bit towards the north, as you can see over the last 6 hours. That has been the trend. A lot more snow is back towards the west over the Twin Cities. Eventually that starts to move east. For now, though, things for the most part, though, are looking very cloudy. Check out the temperature difference. We're actually a bit warmer here this morning, and that is because yesterday and overnight we had cloudy skies and a south wind. So that is a perfect setup for our temperatures to be much warmer here this morning. Our temperatures right now into the 30s. It's 39 in La Crosse, 33 the temperature in Eau Claire, and we'll get a check on your the planner for today. We start tapping into some of that rain by 11 o'clock, and really good chances basically from about 11 throughout the day today as far as that rain goes through 3. And then we start transitioning over to more of that snowy type of weather by around 5 p.m. as temperatures will then drop to around the near or at freezing mark. And then after that, kind of looking at some lingering snow here through the evening, Ken, as temperatures will continue to fall. And I'll have plenty more details on this coming up in just a bit.
All right. Thanks very much, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. The Coulee region has an opportunity to remember one of its most active community members later this morning. Longtime school psychologist and community philanthropist Linda Lickey passed away earlier this month after a long battle with ALS. Her memorial service is this morning at the Lickey Theater at the Weber Center on Front Street in La Crosse. Visitation is going to be from 9 to 10:45 with the service starting at 11. The La Crescent Police Department is asking community members to grant access to doorbell cameras and other devices to help officers solve more crimes. News 8 Now's Dua Israr spoke with a La Crescent officer who says he's already receiving positive feedback.
A helping hand.
A good way to build trust and a partnership between the La Crescent Police Department and our community.
Or in this case, a helping eye.
So we're reaching out to members of the community to give us access to their already installed cameras.
Can be the key to solving a crime.
This provides us with a new and innovative resource. We have the technology, why not reach out and use it?
The La Crescent Police Department is asking community members and businesses to be a part of its Safe Community Camera program.
Asking them to sign up their Ring cameras, their surveillance cameras, to help us with investigations as a police department.
Officer Darren DeVoe says people with security cameras can register their devices with the La Crescent Police Department. In the case of a crime, police officers can reach out to homeowners with surveillance devices and request the footage.
It could always be used for other things if someone were to go missing, any other emergency that may come up. This camera program could help us out.
Michael Packard, a manager at Ace Hardware, says the program is a way to keep the community safe.
Well, it sounds like something that could, benefit things that go on in the community. For me, personally, it would.
Packard believes the program will help the police department solve crimes.
Video clips of things going on actually show you exactly what happened. You don't get 6 sides of a story. You get, there's the stories.
Officer DeVoe encourages homeowners and businesses to participate.
We've had a few homeowners sign up so far this morning, and as the day goes on, we hope to get more.
And help build a safe community. Reporting in La Crescent, Dua Israr, News 8 Now.
Thanks very much, Dua. You can register your surveillance device on the La Crescent Police Department's website. Well, today is Giving Tuesday and prime time for scammers to take advantage of your generosity. Wisconsin consumer protection officials are offering this advice. If people ask for donations from you, ask for the name, address, and the organization's phone number. Get all those specifics. Don't make any payments over the phone. Don't click any links in emails, texts, or social media posts. And if you're writing a check to someone, write the name of the organization on the check, not an individual's name. There are ways as well to do research on organizations. You can go to charitynavigator.org or give.org to see if an organization asking for a donation is actually registered. The Rotary Lights invited people to a calmer evening of holiday cheer. The La Crosse Autism Foundation hosted an All Abilities Night. The display featured quiet music and no flashing lights. The organization also had a calming area open to those who might need it. That event ran until 8 on Monday night. Toma Health and Versity are holding a blood drive both today and tomorrow to try boosting essential supply. Blood donations are usually low during the holiday season, and Versity is the only supplier for nearly 50 Wisconsin hospitals. So if you'd like to help out, head to Toma's Recreation Park between noon and 5. The La Crosse-based Council of the Knights of Columbus is helping keep kids stay warm this winter. They are asking people to go online and donate money, which will be used to purchase coats for kids. The council's goal, to raise enough money to buy 72 new coats. We have a link to the donation page on news8000.com. In tough times, what we often need most is support. News 8 Now's Emily Haugen spoke with a group connecting incarcerated people with something greater than themselves.
Ann Wales knows loss.
You know, I've had people show up for me in my life.
She uses what she knows in her work as a chaplain.
I want to show up for them during probably one of the worst possible times in their life.
In the La Crosse County Jail, Wales's work is built on connection.
They can tell me things, and they can pour out their hearts when they're feeling bad about their actions. And if I can help them through that process, it's a gift to me.
And connecting people to faith leaders.
I find guys who are at their end, that they are willing to change in addiction, in criminalities, basically breaking the cycle of incarceration, and then I find them help.
Dean Chekovich once walked in the shoes of those he's helping.
I knew I had to give back. And that started with a minister, Jack Sabota, come to visit me in the La Crosse County Jail in 2012. And he spoke a word of encouragement over me. He saw something in me that I never saw.
For Dean, faith and the jail ministry are what brought him home.
Fear ran my life for 40 years, and the faith is the opposite. And every time I use faith, fear disappears.
Wales hopes every incarcerated person has a similar experience.
They've met them here, and so then they figure that they'll be welcomed when they go.
An experience that could help everyone.
If they take those steps to change their lives, it's a win for them, it's a win for their families, it's a win for our community.
A purpose inspired behind the walls of the La Crosse County Jail. In La Crosse, Emily Haugen, News 8 Now.
Thanks very much, Emily. If you would like to donate to the jail ministry, they will have more information on its website. We have the donation link at news8000.com. Well, frequent weather disasters are putting a strain on the Red Cross's resources. Hurricane Ian was one of the most costly weather disasters in U.S. history earlier this year. The Vice President of Disaster Operations says disasters like Ian impact low-income families the most.
That disaster can be the thing that pushes a family over the edge. And what the Red Cross does, we provide the services and the care and the compassion to pull families back from that edge.
He says weather disasters impact people's health, create food insecurity, and destroy homes. According to the Red Cross this year, weather disasters have caused more than $1 billion in damages. You can help by going to redcross.org and becoming a local volunteer. A La Crosse nonprofit hopes you will start a new holiday tradition. On Sunday, Jingle Bell Brunch is hosting a holiday pop-up and collecting donations of new socks, underwear, and t-shirts.
We'll be having receptacles available that day that people can put any of the items into, and we'll be giving them to the Salvation Army and helping them to clothe our less fortunate neighbors.
So if you're willing, you can drop off your donations during the first ever JBB Merry Night Market. 10 vendors are going to be taking part in the Waterfront Banquet Room from 9 a.m. until 3 in the afternoon. JBB is also hosting its annual brunch, but that part of the event is already sold out. It is 6:09 a.m. this morning. Still ahead on your morning news. With increased pressure from union members, President Biden is asking Congress to help stop a potential nationwide rail strike. And what experts say you need to know to protect your private information from scammers this holiday season. That and more coming up after the break. But for now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. The season of giving is in full swing in West Allis's very own winter wonderland. Cars lined up and down the block for the first day of Candy Cane Lane's light show. All the money raised from Candy Cane Lane will go toward funding childhood cancer research. This year is the 37th annual event, and in that time, over $3 million have been raised. Nearly 300 neighbors create their own displays to help garner donations and, of course, put a smile on people's faces. Don't go anywhere. More News 8 Now this morning coming up after the break.
That was a live look there from CityCam 8. Overall quiet conditions in La Crosse. Maybe not so much further west, though. Areas like Dunn County looking at some light snow that is currently falling. Rusk County getting a bit of a break right now. Chippewa here as well, but there is more snow here kind of moving in associated with another band that is heading your way. The rest of us, though, right now are looking at mainly cloudy and overall some pretty cool temperatures here to start this morning, with temperatures especially cold here to the north in Eau Claire. You're at 33. A little bit warmer, though, in La Crosse. Temperatures are at 39, and Sparta is currently at 33, so very close to the freezing mark there for you. A check on your zone forecast today in La Crosse County, reaching the upper 30s to low 40s mainly during the morning, and that's really not just La Crosse County. It's areas down towards the south as well, with highs reaching around 41 today in Lansing and 35 in Arcadia today. We'll be at 38 in Black River Falls and highs reaching 34 in Eau Claire, and again mainly during the morning, as temperatures will then fall here throughout the day. And you can kind of see that here on the Schoolcast here as well. Temperatures will be around 39 for your lunch hour. Watch out for some rain. Some of that rain continues around dismissal time in the afternoon too, with temperatures at around 37 degrees. Stay tuned. We'll have another check on the full weather forecast. We'll break down the timing and details of the snow and rain heading our way.
President Biden is calling on Congress to pass legislation immediately to avoid a nationwide rail strike. The president wants Congress to approve a tentative deal that was worked out in September that management and union leaders agreed to at the time. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced that she will introduce a bill this week to adopt the tentative agreement, and it appears the Senate has enough votes to go along. Now, 4 out of the 12 unions that represent freight rail workers have voted down the proposal. All of them need to agree for things to move forward. A national strike could happen as early as next Friday, December 9th. The IRS says now is the time for taxpayers to focus on protecting their sensitive information from identity thieves. The agency announced this week is National Tax Security Awareness Week, a time for both taxpayers and tax professionals to become more aware of avoiding scams. According to the IRS, the holiday shopping season is a golden opportunity for thieves who want your personal financial info. So they say shoppers should be on the lookout and avoid false text scams especially. The company Green Sprouts has pulled over 10,000 sippy cups and bottles. The 3 recalled products include a stainless steel sippy cup, the cup with a straw, and a stainless steel straw bottle. According to the notice, the base of the cups and bottles can break off and expose children to lead. Green Sprouts has received 7 reports about the product, but no injuries have been reported. Customers should throw recalled bottles away and contact Green Sprouts for a full refund. Finding the perfect gift for tweens, teens, and even young adults can be especially tricky. Trends quickly fade, and that's why Consumer Reports has made a list of gifts that can keep on giving for the teen in your life.
Consumer Reports says shopping for teens and young adults this holiday season might be easier than you think.
Think about useful splurges. So things they wouldn't necessarily buy or think of for themselves, but would love to have and use anyway.
On top of Tanya's list, an air fryer.
If your young adult likes to chef it up in the kitchen, I would definitely recommend an air fryer. I mean, like, they're really the best invention.
This one from Dash earns top scores in CR's tests, and it will add a pop of color to any kitchen. If they're always wearing a different hairstyle, consider a good quality hair tool. This Bio-Ionic curling iron created bouncy, shiny curls that lasted days for most of CR's panelists. And this Dyson hairdryer is absolutely a splurge.
The Dyson was the top performer in CR's lab test for dry speed, and it's actually one of the quietest too. What's also nice, it comes with a variety of accessories.
Whether they're traveling the world or just waiting for the bus, CR says this Patagonia Black Hole Mini is a go-to among the travel backpacks CR's looked at. You can take it on a plane or to school, and it can fit a lot of stuff inside. And it's also comfy enough to wear for a while. And maybe you can't buy them a car, but how about an electric bike? E-bikes can pedal just like a regular bike, but with an added assist.
E-bikes are a great option for getting places without a car. However, they can be expensive, so there's something you'll want to consider carefully.
CR says this one from Blix does well in its tests and costs less than some other e-bike models.
Now, electric bike regulations differ from state to state, so you'll want to check whether you need an operator's license to use one on public roads in your area. For safety, CR says you should always wear a bike helmet whether or not it's required.
We continue to watch some of the snow come in, mainly across our western zones, especially if you're in Dunn County here this morning. You are looking at some of that here moving your way. Western Eau Claire County as well as western Chippewa looking at some of that rain. Pepin County and Wabasha, where you did see some snow earlier, well, you are now getting a break. But there's still more to come, though, back towards the west. As you can see, a lot of snow here falling across central Minnesota, including the Twin Cities. Eventually, this is going to move in our way and kind of fill in the radar here a little bit later as well. And this is really associated with a pretty broad but very strong storm system, not just impacting us here in the Coulee region in the upper Midwest, but the Central Plains and west towards the Rocky Mountains here as well. Severe weather is even possible down to the south, so pretty messy setup here with this system that's going to affect a lot of us here across the U.S. City Cam 8 looking quiet here for now, but again, changes are coming. We'll get to that in a second. 39 degrees and cloudy skies currently in La Crosse. Visibility looking good at around 10 miles. Conditions to the north in Eau Claire, 33 degrees and cloudy skies here as well. Visibility looking good for now. North-northeast winds at around 3 miles an hour. And our temperatures really across the rest of the area this morning are mainly into those 30s. And temperatures will continue to really just fall here throughout the day. And we'll get to that here in just a bit. But first, I want to show you how much warmer it is here this morning. At least about 10 to 20 degrees of a much warmer difference. Number one, because we had the clouds overhead that kind of traps the heat down at the surface. And also number two, we did have a south wind to work with. So that really did keep us pretty warm here overnight and lasting into this morning. But again, changes are coming. Rain expected to start around noon today. Rain, snow, and wind here kind of mixing together, making things a little bit miserable out there around 4 o'clock. And then cloudy skies by this evening. Temperatures then dropping to about 28 degrees. Winter weather alerts are in effect. Winter weather advisories highlighted in blue. And even some of us here kind of under those winter storm watches. This is mainly for the Twin Cities, south central and northern Minnesota, as well as northern Wisconsin. Even some of us here in the Coulee region under those winter weather advisories as the storm system continues to move in. And you'll notice it here on Sky Tracker. We'll start to tap into more snow come later this morning. And then some of us dealing with that rain and snow kind of mixing together as we head into the early afternoon. And then we'll start to see that change over to really just all snow come later this afternoon, right around that 3 to 4 p.m. hour, while some of us here across our eastern zone still dealing with rain. And then we'll start to see that snow continue to move its way towards the east and really just affect just about everybody east of the Mississippi River around 6 p.m. And then by 9 o'clock, everything should come to a close. Things do remain cloudy, though, overnight tonight and well into the day tomorrow morning, as well as into much of the day tomorrow in general here as well. It's really not until around 5, 6 p.m. tomorrow that most of this should come to a close. As far as the snowfall forecast goes, not too many changes. 1 to 3 inches across the La Crosse area, 3 to 5 inches here basically from Eau Claire and north, and much higher here, 6 to 8 inches are possible across northern Wisconsin. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast, and you'll see that we will be looking at much colder conditions for tomorrow and cloudier skies, highs around 28, a bit warmer for Thursday, 37 degrees, much warmer for Friday as highs climb to 45 before our next cool down arrives this weekend on Saturday. Stay tuned, though. We're back with much more news and weather still to come right here on News 8 Now this morning. We are, however, taking a quick break with a look at what happened on this day in history for November 29th. Snow showers are coming down here, so another update for you on the radar shows that we are watching some snow continues to come down in Dunn County. Some flurries here now popping up here in Buffalo County and also up towards Bloomer here in Chippewa, looking at some light snow. Meanwhile, further south, it's a bit warmer, so we're seeing some rain showers across northeast Iowa into Crawford County northward, now moving into La Crosse, so watch out for that here on your morning commute. Temperatures are into the 30s here this morning, and your dog walking conditions will turn a bit wet here as we head into the afternoon hours, so just bear that in mind with you and your furry friend. And also keep an eye on the weather here this evening as some of that rain does begin to transition over to snow. Stay tuned. I'll have a check on your commute forecast. We'll break down those details as far as how the roadways could be shaping out later.
Welcome to the Morning Blitz. It's a new week in the Wisconsin football era. Yesterday, Luke Fickell arrived in Madison to start his next chapter as the Badgers head coach. It was a hire that shocked a lot of Wisconsin fans, but it's also a hire that will help Wisconsin football take the next steps as a program. Fickell was the 2021 National Coach of the Year, but maybe one of the most important parts of the hire is he was the defensive coordinator for Ohio State in 2014, the year they won the national title. And he was a former nose tackle for Ohio State and played against the Badgers in college. He knows what it takes to win not only in the Big Ten, but in college football as a whole. He spent the day on campus touring the facilities and meeting with the players. Now, it's a process that moves very fast, but that's what you have to do to stay ahead of the game.
This is obviously a whirlwind. I know that for everybody in here, you know, when you end a season and things turn around this fast and this quick, but it's the world that we live in. It's things that we have to do to be able to maintain our program, our kids, to give them clarity and to move forward.
I know the Badgers still have to play in a bowl game later this year. Fickell said he's not sure what the exact plan is yet, but he'll definitely be coaching in some sort of capacity so we can start building trust with the players. All right, on the basketball court yesterday, the Timberwolves taking on the Wizards. Minnesota down a bunch as Kristaps Porzingis knocks down the three to put them up by 13. Minnesota trying to keep pace. Rudy Gobert out to Austin Rivers. Goes back to Gobert, who slams it through. T-Wolves down 12. Now in the fourth, Kyle Anderson in the corner, pump fake, and drives and throws it up to Gobert again for the bucket with 9 minutes to go, but the Wizards not budging. And it's the La Crosse native Johnny Davis going to the paint and drawing the foul and knocking it down for the and one. He'd make the free throw, finish with just 3 points as the Wizards get the win. Karl Anthony Towns also going down with an injury, which is not what you want to see if you're Minnesota. All right, that's all for the Morning Blitz, but our own Rob Schiff will have more for you later this evening. We'll be right back.
Breaking overnight, the biggest active volcano on Earth is erupting right now, and it's happening in the United States. Lava that's over 2,000 degrees is flowing on Hawaii's biggest island. This is the first time it's erupted since 1984. So to keep people safe, Hawaii's Emergency Management Agency says it has activated its operations center. And a state official says the National Guard is on standby and the state health department is monitoring air quality. U.S. Congressman Donald Meachin passed away Monday night. The Democrat from Virginia had colorectal cancer. Meachin was elected to represent the 4th Congressional District of Virginia in 2016. His office says it will remain open until a new representative is elected. He is survived by his wife and 3 children. He was 61 years old. Former Green Bay Packer quarterback Brett Favre is asking a Mississippi court to dismiss a lawsuit against him and his organization. The Mississippi Department of Human Services wants him to pay $228,000. This is tied to a $1.1 million that the Mississippi Community Education Center paid him previously. That money came from federal welfare funds and was meant to pay Favre for promotional ads and speaking engagements. The state auditor said those never happened. Favre returned the money, but the auditor says he still owes $228,000 in interest payments. Overdue by decades, a library book finally made its way back home to Lake Elmo, Minnesota, 47 years later. WCCO's Marielle Mose learned more about this book's journey and its unexpected return.
So, Karin, where would this book have been in the library?
Sure, it would be in the 629 section.
Karin Rodericks points out where the Chilton Import Car Repair Manual used to be, at the Lake Elmo branch of Washington County Library.
diesel repair book too in here. So
For decades, it was missing from the shelves until earlier this month when it arrived by mail. Inside the front cover, a handwritten note.
In the mid-1970s, I was living in Lake Elmo and was working on an old Mercedes-Benz. A few months later, I moved, and apparently the book got packed up in the move.
The anonymous sender didn't include a return address, but explained why the book was never returned.
My apologies to anyone in Lake Elmo who was working on an old Benz in the last 47 years. I probably can't afford the overdue charge, but I will send you enough for another book.
$200 cash was also included with the note.
This is the prize, the note.
It was the story behind the book's journey that was more valuable to Karin than the cash inside. Washington County Libraries no longer charges overdue fees, and they have other copies of the manual at other branches. So that money will be reinvested back into the Lake Elmo Library.
The library always needs money, and we probably will put it towards books.
In a time where everything is digital and libraries don't get as many people renting physical copies, it was nice for them to see a stranger remind them how much they care.
That just shows how much he values the library.
Unfortunately, the book is not in good enough condition to lend out again, but the library did save the note of its journey back home. In the Madison area, a Middleton art installation is giving everyone the chance to engage in the art of Vincent van Gogh. Immersive Van Gogh opened to the public on Monday. Giant screens and projectors allow people to step inside the 19th century artist's paintings, making them larger than life.
If you think about it, Van Gogh's paintings are almost animated in and of themselves. So they lend themselves very well to this particular medium. And the creators of this are sort of like the Steven Spielbergs of this art form.
You can find the exhibit at Middleton's Greenway Station. It's going to be open through January 8th. The judge who oversaw the Waukesha Parade trial says she will decide whether to run for the state Supreme Court soon. In an interview with the Milwaukee TV station, Judge Jennifer Doro says she's been overwhelmed with support. She also spoke about her family considerations.
One of my crowning achievements is being a working mom. I might get a little emotional when I talk about that, because not everyone is told, right, that they can have it all. It's a lot of work, there's a lot of sacrifice. It just amazes me that people look to me that way for doing what I love to do, and that's my job.
Doro declined talking about the Brooks case because of a pending appeal, but said it was her biggest trial and she's proud of how she handled it. Congress is returning after the Thanksgiving holiday for a lame duck session. It's the last chance for Democrats to pass legislation before they lose control of the House in January. On the docket is the Respect for Marriage Act. The bipartisan bill is being pushed by Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin. It would require states to recognize all marriages that were legal in the state they were performed. The bill is expected to be taken up in the Senate sometime today, and one of several bills that Baldwin sees as a priority.
We, I think, have to agree on a bipartisan basis that that work needs to get done. That the National Defense Authorization Act, the Omnibus Appropriations Bill, the Respect for Marriage Act.
Also among the bills is the Electoral Count Act, which clarifies the Electoral College process in the wake of January 6th. The final makeup of the next Senate is still undecided, but Democrats could capture a 51-seat majority if they win next week's Georgia Senate runoff. A Wisconsin Labor Relations Commission has ruled the UW Health Hospital System is not required to recognize a nurses' union or engage in collective bargaining negotiations. Wisconsin Employment Relations Commission ruled that UW Health was exempted from collective bargaining laws because the nurses are public employees under a 2011 law passed under former Republican Governor Scott Walker. UW Nurses United said in a statement that it will appeal the commission's decision in court, as well as petition the National Labor Relations Board. The Minnesota Department of Transportation is keeping a close eye on the incoming snow. The first crews headed out at midnight, hitting trouble spots like bridges and overpasses that tend to get slick and freeze first. A lot of how they determine what to treat the roads with and when and where to plow actually relies quite heavily on science and technology.
It's never a one-stop shop or a one solution for every route out there. All these factors have an impact. If it's a little bit colder, if it's more snow than less snow, if the timing is different, all of those can have an impact on how well we do and when we do things.
Each plow is outfitted with advanced technology that takes in real-time data of the road and air temperature, as well as the type of precipitation that's falling. And that gives the driver a more accurate suggestion on how to treat the roads, whether it's salt, brine, or a mixture of both. A major storm system wreaking havoc on airports across the nation. Americans are facing a slew of unwelcome flight delays while wrapping up the holiday weekend. As Isabel Rosales reports, the new storm system is now threatening more than 25 million Americans.
The Storm Prediction Center sounding the alarm on a significant severe weather event.
Indication here is a level 4 on a scale of 1 to 5, and damaging winds, large hail are the primary threats, but there is an elevated risk here for tornadoes as well.
It especially threatens 1.5 million people across the lower Mississippi River Valley. Significant tornado outbreaks expected late afternoon on Tuesday, with dangerous nocturnal tornadoes possible as people sleep. From storm systems to snowfall.
It's going to be very, very dangerous.
Reduced visibility and hazardous driving conditions in Washington.
The roads are getting pretty bad.
As snow spreads across the Mountain West and into the Midwest. All as Americans take to the skies in pandemic-era record numbers.
It's great.
It was
very
so
smooth.
great.
Yeah, just coming early.
It was so shocking.
The TSA reports more than 2.5 million people were screened at airports Sunday. Despite the crowds, airlines avoided the problems that plagued them during the summer. Just a few dozen cancellations Sunday compared to more than 50,000 flight cancellations over several months.
It's actually been a pretty smooth experience so far. So yeah, it's been a lot easier than last year, I think.
But not smooth for all. Poor weather conditions forcing thousands of flight delays.
Not as glamorous as it used to be, but it's worth it. You get to spend time with your family.
With the busy holiday travel season not yet over, travelers across the country keeping a close watch on the weather. I'm Isabel Rosales reporting.
And for the latest on what's due to reach closer to home today, let's head on over to News 8 Now meteorologist Derek Sibley.
All right, thanks for that, Ken. Yeah, we are dealing with the snowy part of that storm system here mentioned in that previous story. And you can see here across our western zones, looking at some of that snow that continues to come down. Areas like Dunn County as well as Eau Claire County, looking at some of that snow that continues to move north, which is now affecting Chippewa here as well. Pepin County getting a little bit of some snow here, and so is northern Buffalo County. If we go a little bit towards the south, we are starting to see some rain now beginning to spread north across our southern zones. So Vernon County kind of in the thick of some very, very light rain. This is kind of moving its way towards the north into La Crosse County, but some very, very light drizzle here as of now with some of that rain. But for today, a much heavier rain will fall and some snow here kind of mixing at times as well today. Temperatures around 40 degrees, but keep in mind that they will continue to fall throughout the day. Tonight, cloudy skies as everything really clears out. Temperatures at 20 and west-northwest winds at 15 to 25. So for your DriveCast, cloudy skies this morning. We start to run into some rain here for the lunch hour, and then eventually that transition over to snow here, especially during your evening commute back. Stay tuned. I'll have a final check on the full weather forecast, and we'll break down some more of the details as well as the timing still to come. Ken?
All right. Thanks very much, Derek. Time is 6:41 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. Coming up after the break, we know the most famous reindeer of all, of course, but there's a new one hoping to join the lore of Christmas classics. That story and more in your Buzz Report coming up next.
Well, we continue to track the snow and some of that rain here coming down. We'll get to that here in a second. But first, I want to start off with some of the snow coming down across our western zones, basically from around Pepin County northward into Dunn County, into the thick of things right now with some light flurries and snow here going on across portions of Eau Claire County, also into Chippewa here County as well, now moving its way north into Rusk County here at the same time. Again, we're also tracking some of that rain here that I talked about earlier here at the top of the broadcast, and you can see looking at some rain here coming down in portions of our southern zones, now moving into Vernon County, as well as some very light drizzle kind of pushing its way north now into La Crosse County. If we widen out the view, though, you can see the heavier snow still remains back towards the west across mainly central Minnesota, also into the Twin Cities, getting some moderate snowfall here at the moment. And eventually all this activity is going to start to move our way and move east across the Coulee region, associated with a very broad but also very strong low pressure system, which is not only affecting us here in the upper Midwest, but you can see snow here all the way through the Central Plains and the Mountain West here as well. We're also watching a severe weather event here that could take shape down to the south on the south side of that storm there as well. So a pretty messy setup. CityCam 8 though looking quiet here for now, and current conditions in La Crosse 39 degrees with cloudy skies. We have a visibility at around 10 miles. An east-southeast wind here around 5.26 feet is our river stage, which is dropping. In Eau Claire, cloudy skies here, temperatures at 33 degrees and visibility looking good here for now, but again those changes here may make the visibility lower here later on. 32 is the freezing mark here. Black River Falls, 34 degrees currently in Winona. Check out the temperature difference. We had cloudy skies last night, and we also had a southerly wind here yesterday and last night too. So that has helped things, at least make things much warmer here compared to this time yesterday. But keep in mind our temperatures will be dropping throughout the day. We start to tap into some of that rain by noon. 4 o'clock, a rain-snow mix along with some windy conditions, and then cloudy skies, temperatures at 28 degrees by this evening. Winter weather alerts in the form of winter weather advisories and even a winter storm watch. The winter storm watch is to the north of us, which also does include the Twin Cities, and also to the west of us, winter weather advisories. They're highlighted in blue, which does include some areas west of the Mississippi River to include portions of the western zones here in the Coulee region for today. And the storm system is going to be making its way to the east, which is why some of us are under those winter weather alerts there. You can see rain here starting across our central zones around noon. Snowy weather back to the west. Notice the snow here begins to move its way east here as we head into those late afternoon hours and really just continue as we head into the early evening. The snow here ends though as we head into the evening, and also overnight tonight things will continue to remain cloudy. Cloudy skies will continue throughout much of the day here tomorrow, along with some pretty cold temperatures behind the storm system. It's really not until tomorrow evening that things begin to settle down. Those skies will clear out. 3 to 5 inches of snow possible in the Eau Claire area. Meanwhile, less here down to the south. 1 to 3 is possible across La Crosse. Some coatings here further south of that. So that's kind of what we're thinking here as far as snowfall forecast goes. And you can see temperatures drop into the upper 20s for Wednesday. Highs into the 30s on Thursday, and then the 40s on Friday. So a bit of a warm up here to end the work week, but then we're cold again as we head into Saturday.
In our Buzz Report this morning, the word of the year is gaslighting. Merriam-Webster says people looked up the definition of that term in a dramatic sense. The publishing company says gaslighting is the act or practice of grossly misleading someone. And the word's origin actually comes from the name of a 1938 play involving a man who tries to make his wife believe she's going insane. One of his tricks is to make the gaslights in the house dim and then deny the lower lighting, trying to convince her to not trust her own perceptions. A new reindeer is joining the CBS holiday fold. Blizzard is a young reindeer living at the North Pole with an unusual trait. One of his antlers is much smaller than the other. In the animated one-hour special Reindeer in Here, Blizzard and his friends team up with Theo, a lonely 10-year-old boy, to save Christmas. You can catch Reindeer in Here tonight on CBS, followed by Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a classic. You can also stream them anytime on Paramount+. Well, we are heading to break, Derek, with today's Look Who's 8.
That's right, Ken. We have one today who is turning 8, and this is Judson, 8 months that is. Judson is known for his big smile and fuzzy hair.
So photogenic. Happy birthday, Judson. Hey, if you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old, we would love to feature them.
Yeah, just upload their photo to our website. It's news8000.com, and you want to look for the Submit Pictures button. That's under the Home tab on our website.
I love that jingle. Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your morning news now, coming up next. Time for your morning news now. A La Crosse nonprofit hopes you will start a new holiday tradition. On Sunday, Jingle Bell Brunch hosting a holiday pop-up and collecting donations of new socks, underwear, and t-shirts.
We'll be having receptacles available that day that people can put any of the items into, and we'll be giving them to the Salvation Army and helping them to clothe our less fortunate neighbors.
So if you're willing, you can drop off donations during the first ever JBB Merry Night Market. 10 vendors are going to be taking part in the Waterfront Banquet Room from 9 a.m. until 3 in the afternoon. JBB is also hosting that annual brunch, but that part of the event already sold out. The Coulee region has an opportunity to remember one of its most active community members this morning. Longtime school psychologist and community leader Linda Lickey passed away earlier this month after a long battle with ALS. Her memorial service this morning at the Lickey Theater at the Weber Center on Front Street in La Crosse. Visitation is from 9 to 10:45 this morning, with the service starting at 11. The La Crosse Community Foundation is making it easier for you to support the causes that matter to you. The foundation unveiled the La Crosse Giving Catalog on Monday. The website shares a mission statement for every group and a button that allows you to donate. The catalog launches today.
Nonprofit organizations rely on charitable giving and philanthropy to be able to meet their missions. And it really is thriving nonprofit organizations that set communities apart from being a good community to being a great community.
Organizers said that any gift of up to $5,000 in the new giving catalog today will be matched. There will be over 60 nonprofits for you to choose from.
Cloudy skies for much of the morning for most of us here in the Coulee region. Snow here to the west of us, but we will be looking at some rain here for most of us, kind of moving its way east as we head towards those late afternoon or late morning hours into the early afternoon, and then transitioning to really all snow for a lot of us late this afternoon into early this evening, with temperatures falling.
Thanks very much, Derek. Toma Health and Versiti are holding a blood drive both today and tomorrow to try boosting essential supply. Blood donations are usually low during the holiday season. Versiti is the only supplier for nearly 50 Wisconsin hospitals. If you'd like to help out, you can head to Toma's Recreation Park between noon and 5. The La Crosse-based Council of the Knights of Columbus is helping keep kids stay warm this winter. They are asking people to go online and donate money, which will be used to purchase coats for kids. The council's goal is to raise enough money to buy 72 new coats. We've got a link to the donation page on news8000.com. And hey, News 8 now is celebrating our 3rd annual Joy of Sharing this Friday, December 2nd. It's during a one-day event at Festival Foods in Onalaska. Again, one-day event, and our community absolutely needs our support. So we are asking you to help us donate money, non-perishable food items, and or toys to support several local organizations. That's including the Hunger Task Force, Toys for Tots, and the Salvation Army. And your donations can absolutely make a difference. So be sure to stop by that Friday and drop off those donations of, again, toys, food, or cash to help those organizations. If you can't make the event, online donations are also accepted for all 3 organizations. A great event to be a part of.
And a final check on your 8-day forecast shows us that after all this messy weather moves out of here today, it's going to be mainly cloudy and much colder tomorrow with highs into the upper 20s. Looking at some partly cloudy skies for Thursday, a little bit warmer with highs around 37 and warming up to 45 on Friday before our next cool down arrives on Saturday. So I think for the Joy of Sharing, Ken, things are looking pretty good.
Excellent. And as for today, of course, we've seen a lot of drive time graphics for you.
Yeah.
A lot of green lights across the board for days and days and days. Today, got to be a little bit more careful on the roads, especially if you're a 9-to-5er, that drive home might be a little difficult.
Exactly. So pay attention to the weather. That First Alert Weather app is great to have.
It's a godsend. All right, that's Derek Sibley. I'm Ken Kozrowski. Thank you so much for joining us on this Tuesday morning. Don't forget to keep up with the news of the day on news8000.com, and I'll see you at noon.